After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Welcome. We're going to call this an introduction, not episode 1, an introduction. I'm Pace. That's Adam over there.
Heyo.
We're saying hello. This is going to be our new podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about who we are and the things that are going on behind the scenes in our construction building world. But right now, let's start with talking to Adam and let's hear a little bit about how he got his start in the building world.
Oh boy. All right, I get to talk about myself. Well, it goes back many years ago. I'm going to make this as short as I can. But, when I grew up just outside Philadelphia, I did a lot of work on farmland. You might say, man, there's no farms in Philadelphia. Wrong. Outside of Philadelphia, about an hour outside, lots of farmland areas. And, that's really where I got to kind of get my feet wet with some construction stuff. Aside from baling hay and doing that sort of thing that we did on the farms, we did a lot of work on some of the structures on the farm. So that was kind of the kickoff to me really learning some skill sets with my hands. And then fast forward, finish high school, go to college at the University of Vermont, and finish school. I was actually wearing a suit and tie to work every day as a commercial real estate investment broker, and I hated it. And I don't know if, Pace, you ever see that movie Office Space? Tell me you've seen that. Wow, great movie. I was that guy. It was like, okay, is it 5 o'clock yet? Time to get the hell out of here.
You don't mean the one that was beating on the printer with a baseball bat? Not that guy?
That's the one. I'm going to need you to come in on Sunday. We're going to do those PTS reports, that movie. I had met a UVM alum who was a general contractor, and I always wanted to learn how to build my own house and work on houses. I just, once that entered my brain, I needed to kind of break loose of where I was. So anyway, she kind of hired me with minimal experience. And I was the guy from Office Space. I was in a hole with a shovel for 3 months. I moved enough gravel by hand, bucket by bucket, to backfill an entire house. And I was happier than a pig in shit. It was really, really great. In any case, I stuck that out, and it was a small company of about 7 people, and her head guy kind of took me under his wing and taught me how to read plans. I learned everything from forming foundations to framing all the way through finish work. So, that's kind of how my career kind of kicked off, and that was in 2005. And then that was actually in the San Diego area. Moved to the Bay Area, where I ended up working with you, Pace. Pace and I worked for a large construction and engineering firm, about 50 employees, and Pace actually hired me as a carpenter. I don't need to speak for you, Pace, as you'll probably talk a little bit about it, but through the years of us working closely together, I got promoted from being a carpenter to being a foreman and running my own crew to eventually being a project manager and running several jobs. And that led me to start to think about getting my contractor's license, and you and I having conversations about, hey, let's start our own thing. We can do this better. We saw some of the pitfalls and learned a lot of the things that were going wrong with the company that we worked for. And decided to go on our own. So that was kind of the kickoff to me branching out, getting my license, and starting our company.
Interesting. I think my story is similar in a way. I grew up in Maine, where there actually is farmland, unlike whatever you're saying. I worked road construction starting as soon as I could get a paycheck, like 15 years old. So summertime, any vacation, I was doing road construction. I continued that. I went to Syracuse, and every break I had, I was working road construction. and that just it really trained my mind. The road crew that I worked on was so efficient. They were such hardworking guys that it really, I think it set some standards in my brain that we use every day now. Um, but after college, I moved out to California, and I was in the restaurant world for a while until 9/11, and that really reset everything. After 9/11, I was trying to figure out what was going to be next for me, and I picked up a shovel. A friend of mine, just like you, was a general contractor, and I really just wanted to do some thinking, get my head around what was next for me, and just started digging. And one thing led to another, right? Foreman, project manager, eventually becoming a construction director. A lot of years of passing here, but you and I met, and eventually we went out on our own and started Diamond Home Restoration. That was back in 2008,
Quite a long time ago.
quite a long time ago.
That makes you pretty old. That reminds me of when we first started. I think we were accused of being a father-son duo. You,
That
of
doesn't
course, being
sound
my
right. I have
father.
no memory of that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You wish.
Um, you know, I don't even think I mentioned the name of the podcast. We're calling the podcast Build Connected. And there's a lot in that name, that word connected for us. We're often talking about disconnection, um, in our industry, in various relationships. And that's why the word connected is in the title, because we're really going to try every week to come back to that word and where we think we can improve on our relationships, on the product that we're providing, on how our industry can serve homeowners. But it makes me think of the next question for you. Like, when you think of us as a company, like, what comes to mind who Diamond Home Restoration is?
It's a good question. I think about our company and I think about family. Some might say you're kind of like my father. See what I did there? No, in essence, we are a family. Our company is. We have employees that have been working with us since you and I worked together at our construction and engineering firm. I mean, there's some guys that came over with us, and these are people that, I trust with my own family. In fact, we've had some stay at my house to look after my dog. But our subcontractors are not just run of the mill people that we get pricing from, right? These are people that we rely on all of our projects. And, you would think they were all of our employees, but, because they wear kind of our garb and such. But, these are subcontractors that have been with us for some over 10 years, even 15 years. So, I think that our company is really, really one tight knit group of people that you could almost consider family.
Yeah, I think that family thing resonates a lot with me, and I know that it resonates a lot with our clients. When you're in somebody's house for 10, 12 months on a big remodel, people see you all the time. You really become a part of an extended family. On top of the family aspect, we have such a focus on communication. And that's a two-way street. It's both listening as well as being really sort of open about every step of the way in the project. You and I behind the scenes are always talking about communication and how we can get better, share, make the experience transparent, make people comfortable. Um, it's ongoing. We will never do as good as we hope to. We will always get better. It's just an interesting part of our company. And then also, I think value. We're always aware of where people want to save, where they want to spend. I think we try to inform people on where that value is, where they can hit their budget, where they can spend a little bit extra to make something feel extra special. But it's another part that we really focus on. So, week by week, we'll be talking about many things. What are some of the things that you're hoping to kind of talk about on the podcast?
I want to give people kind of an inside look on the world of being a contractor, right? It's not just you see guys at your house swinging a hammer and doing certain things. There's so much more that goes into everything that we do on a daily basis, whether it's working with the design team or having very detailed discussions with the architect or engineer to problem solve. I mean, really, that's our daily job role is problem solving. And so I want to be able to also answer questions for people that are out there. There's a lot of homeowners that do this kind of thing one time in their life. It's such a huge expense, right? I mean, it's not something people do multiple times. I mean, there are a handful of people that do, but ultimately people have questions and they don't have the answers. So it'd be nice to help provide them with insight, give them some answers to some of the questions they may have. And maybe we're gonna, answer questions that they already know, but I think there's so much to be learned. I mean, you and we're learning stuff every day still. I mean, all the new products that come out as well, and learning about how they're important to the jobs that we do. Which also is another topic that I think we want to bring up is kind of maybe a discussion of new things that come to light in our world and give some attention to those things that we think are important and that work in our everyday construction.
Yeah, I think so. Expanding on that a little bit, just the format that we're looking to present every week is really three segments. One of them will be that hot topic or new technique that we're talking about that Adam just mentioned. Another will be something in the building industry at large, whether it's something that we're encouraged by, that's going well, that's new, that presents advantages to a homeowner, or something that's an obstacle or a frustration for us, for architects, for engineers, for homeowners. There's a lot of parties.
I didn't know you don't have any frustrations with the things that we do.
Very few.
Very few. Hold on.
But
Let me get my book of frustration. Oh wait, no, this one's too thin. I got a really thick one that we just finished. Anyway,
yeah,
we'll get to that.
So there's that disconnection, and then there's the connection. We'll try to be positive whenever we can, but sometimes you got to shine a light on things that are just standing in the way of constructing. And then the third segment that we want to do each week is just something fun, exciting, new on a client project. So we'll just kind of bring you behind the scenes for that as well. And
what about a little taste? Give me something new and exciting. Let's add a little something to look forward to.
Today?
Yeah, give it a little.
No, we're not going to do that today. What we're going to do is we're gonna move on. I think that's enough about what the podcast is going to be about. But just to spice it up a little bit more, we're gonna move into a quick lightning round for you. I'm gonna hit you with some off the cuff questions. Golf versus tennis.
What's the question?
Which do you prefer? What's taking up your time?
Man, you got me there. Both fun sports. I like playing golf. I like playing tennis. That's not a good one.
What are you saying? Are you more of a pickleballer? You got no answer to that?
No, not a pickleballer. I've played pickleball, but definitely not for me.
We're getting through to the end of the winter. Skis versus a snowboard.
Oh yeah, skiing. Come on, who
in their right
roll
mind
your
eyes? Let's go. Come on.
Snowboarding over skiing. I'm a
All
skier.
right, Philly boy. Standard order for a cheesesteak.
It used to be whiz with. Now I like provolone with the onions.
You're saying you've gotten a little older. You get the heartburn.
Yeah, not so much the whiz. I don't do the whiz anymore, but the whiz wit,
All right.
whiz wit.
Well, I think that's a pretty good introduction to who we are. We'll be with you next week for episode 1, and we'll start talking about some of these things that are on our mind, and we hope you join us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.